How's it going, Ding Dongs? Welcome back to Ding Dong Drift. Today's video is going to be a little random, just going to be kind of a talking video and kind of an update video and also basically a summary of what's coming next in the next couple months. As you know, the car is all finished and road legal. It's got headlights, taillights that fully function, everything's working exactly as it should. So I finally went driving it for a little while. When I got home, I noticed some issues. First of all, it was really cold because the car had no rear windows. So I 3D scanned the window area really quick and designed these little covers. Super fast. I didn't even scan them with the door closed, so that's why this doesn't line up at all. But it was just literally to cover it, and I didn't want to do the plexiglass thing like I did last time. Yeah, it was terrible last time. Everything leaked. So this fits nicely. This side not as well as the other side, but yeah, it fits nicely, bolts right in, super easy. I can just remove it when I need to, which is gonna be when I do the rear radiator intakes. So this will become an intake for the radiators in the back. It's probably just gonna go through that panel right there with the existence is pain. That whole thing comes out. And I think that's what I'm gonna use to just route the intakes for the radiator, because the roll cage is also gonna come down somewhere over here and it's gonna land like right there. So I gotta think about that. However, after installing these, I realized the blind spots are really bad. So my intake idea is gonna have to have some plexiglass or something to be able to see through them, because holy crap, is it scary looking back and you just see a black panel. I actually just had a close encounter today. I wasn't looking at the mirror and I went to look and I was already changing lanes, and yeah, I had a little close encounter, which brings me to the sponsor of this video and my first ever dash cam that I got, which is Redtiger. This is the Redtiger F17 Elite, which is the world's first full night color dash cam with in-cabin view, which means no more black and white footage of the cabin when you're driving at night. The dash cam also has a 4K main camera with great sharpness to be able to read license plates from even far away. The in-cabin camera is 1080p and the rear camera is also 2.5K. All of these cameras use the Sony Starvis 2 sensors, which is what gives this camera great night performance. These sensors are also capable of dual channel HDR, which ensures proper exposure in all lighting conditions. Whether you're going from light to dark or dark to light or even flickering light, this camera can handle it. The F17 also has a responsive touchscreen with many settings and functions that you can change right on the camera, as well as an app that lets you connect super fast through 5.8 gigahertz Wi-Fi and download any videos, photos, or time lapses all on your phone super fast. A function I wasn't able to try is the Night Guard parking monitor, which allows you to take a 24-hour time lapse of the front camera while the car isn't even running. I've wanted a dash cam for a long time, but they always seem to be missing some function, especially when it comes to video quality. All of the dash cams that I've seen always have either a bad cabin camera or they don't have enough resolution to be able to read license plates. Something is always missing, but this camera seems to have all the features that I was looking for. So this is why I've chosen Redtiger, document everything happening around me and protect all the hard work that I've done to this car. I'll also be adding the same camera to my truck, so if you guys want to see that install, let me know in the comments. And with Black Friday coming up, make sure to check out the links in the description and the comments to get a discount. And if you purchase through my link, you'll be helping the channel out as well. Thanks again to Redtiger for sponsoring this video. So back to the car. Let's talk about some stuff that's happened. First of all, you guys remember, had some small cracks appearing on the car. This is probably because these panels flex, and for some reason, see this panel gap's good, but this side started to rise, and I have no idea why that's happening. Literally clueless. I don't understand. So I gotta figure that out. So I just filled that crack in with super glue, as well as this one, filled in it with super glue, as well as this one, this one, this one. Oh, that's a new one. That wasn't there earlier. This one, this one, this one, and I think that's it. So I don't know what's going on. This door is flexing or something is happening, but it is falling apart. This was probably the last time I'm driving the car because it is literally crumbling. I wasn't meant to be driving this because, as you know, this whole body is not reinforced. This is literally just 3D print with epoxy on top to smooth it out, and then a little bit of Bondo to smooth it out more with primer. That's it. This was not meant to be driven, and I've been drifting it. I've been driving it on the street. I'm just being an idiot. And speaking of being an idiot, this happened. Hopefully I can find the video of how this happened. If I did, here it is. When I was doing all the garage renovation stuff, moving stuff around, you could see, got the truck in the garage now. I had the car sitting out here idling, and usually I just park it on one of these cracks and it stays. Well, this time, the truck was standing over there, SC was standing here. I come outside through the garage. The car's been idling for like 5 minutes on the driveway. I come outside. As soon as I close the door, I see the car start rolling towards the truck. And yeah, you could see who won. The truck did not even get a scratch. It hit right there on that corner where the reverse light is. So big old chunk of probably ABS or nylon straight into the trunk and bumper. So yeah, I super glued it just so it's a little stiffer, and then I'm just gonna fill it with like an inch of Bondo. Yeah, that was a big oof on my part. Maybe that's why the trunk isn't sitting nicely. I don't know. See, when I open it up, everything looks good here. Seal looks good. So yeah, I don't know why it's sitting up so high. Got a lot of fixing to do. See, it cracked all the way through, all the way to here. Just crazy. So let's talk about what's gonna happen. So currently, there is another FRS. Remember my FRS that I bought and I did absolutely nothing with? Where there's another one locally. It is a salvage title drift car that is totaled with the rear end completely smashed in. But it is a manual with 20,000 miles, which is insane. It must be like a rolled back dash or something. I don't understand how it has so little miles. It's a manual with like some ugly fenders and a facelift front bumper, but the guy wants $3,500. It's a pretty good deal for running and driving car, for running and driving an FRS, because I want to get that thing running and driving so I have a little fun winter beater, because like I said, I'm not driving the SC anymore. This is it. This is the last drive, especially because it's going to snow in like 2 days. Thanksgiving is going to be horrible. And then the next week is going to be like a low of 7 Fahrenheit for those of you watching in anywhere besides Freedom Units land. So yeah, I'm contemplating buying that and doing a manual engine swap, whatever, on the FRS. Or I could use that money to buy almost everything I need, completely finish building this car with a new fuel system, the turbo, everything, new radiators in the back, everything. So let me know in the comments, what do you guys want to see? Should I get the FRS running and do some winter beater stuff as well as, you know, make parts for it? Or do I just buy all the cool parts for the SC? Either way, I'm gonna buy all the cool parts for the SC once I make the money for it again. But right now I have about that much, and both of those things cost the same. Kind of a hard decision. So because the car is falling apart and I can't really drive it anymore, the first thing I'm gonna do is the roll cage. I've been trying to find a clean shell hardtop shell for a while, and there was one available, but it sold before I could get it. Because if you don't know, this car had a very rough life before me. The floors are dented in from, I don't know, meth heads jacking the car up from the floor instead of the pinch welds or the frame rails. I replaced the floors in the car because they were completely rusted out. I cut it all up. Yeah, there's quite a bit of, you know, rough stuff about this car. I would love to just reshell everything because, you know, obviously the body kit, I can just, after it's all carbon, I can just bolt it onto the next car. Not a problem. But then again, you know, there's sentimental value to the car. So I've been trying to find a new shell to put the cage in, because once I put the cage in, it's kind of, that's it. It's staying in this car. You're not going to cut the cage out. That would be an absolute nightmare. Yeah. If you guys know anyone with a slick top shell, preferably a roller, so that I can roll it into the garage, that'd be great. Let me know. If not, roll cage is next. Once the roll cage is done, I'm gonna do probably the engine, pull the engine out, refresh it. This engine has 310,000 miles and it needs like everything refreshed. So I'm gonna do new valve seals, probably new head gasket and head studs, might as well, and get it all, you know, resurfaced on the deck and everything. Yeah, new valve springs. I already have all that stuff. I have the head gasket, I have the head studs, I have the valve springs, I have the seals. So all that stuff has been waiting for quite a few years now. And then, as you know, the turbo system from 1UZ Tech is just chilling on the spare motor. Feel bad that it's been sitting around for so long. Same with the PSR turbo. PSR sponsored that turbo, and it's just been sitting, and I feel really bad, especially with 1UZ Tech. Scott is an absolute badass with welding. Yeah, if you guys need any 1UZ parts, check out 1UZ Tech, because that is where you're gonna find them. He literally sells absolutely everything you need for 1UZs, or 2UZs, or 3UZs. They're all the same shit. So I've said this many times now with the future plans, doing the rear mount radiator with the vents, like I said, so it depends on the cage. So once the cage is done, I can do the rear radiator with the vents and all that. I also want to do the new fuel cell because I want to mount it lower, because the rear radiators have to go up there. So the radiators are going to go where the fuel cell is right now, and then the new fuel cell will fit right here between the frame rails. Yeah, not much needs to even change. I can just move the fuel lines over, literally just weld a new cage in, or weld a new fuel cell in. And then obviously I'm gonna tube the whole rear end. So a lot of people have been asking, you know, like I've cut all the structure out, not really, outside panels aren't structural, but I've cut all the panels out. What am I gonna do with, you know, making the car strong again, or safe? So I'm gonna do a whole tube frame rear end. Same with the front, but that will be later on because it's not really necessary because everything just bolts right on right now. But the rear needs it because right now, as you know, this is all floppy, literally just held in with these 2 angle irons. So I gotta box this all in so the fuel cell is protected, and it will also give me mounting for the rear diffuser because the rear end is not done yet. There's gonna be a diffuser here, which will fill in this whole area because right now it's just, you know, just gaping hole. If you guys remember the old renders, there is a diffuser. It does wrap around, it meets with the fender. Same thing with the front. There is going to be a little fin that comes out and goes around the wheel. Well, not around the wheel, but behind the wheel. Lots to do. Lots and lots and lots of things to do, which I'm very excited for. This is where the build is really gonna, I think, I wouldn't say take off, but it's gonna really elevate from, you know, just being all this 3D printed trinkets and stuff. I mean, yeah, the car has full suspension, but it's still kind of stock. It's still just a stock car with stock engine, manual swap, and fancy suspension. So this is where the build is really gonna elevate. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. I don't know if I've mentioned, but I will be installing electric column steering from a Prius in this car, and I will also be installing electric AC, which I'm very excited for. There's one guy somewhere that did it in a drift car. I can't remember what the channel was called, but he did do it, and it looks freaking awesome. So I really want to have heat and AC in this car, so gonna be doing all that as well. The radiator for the condenser for the AC is not that big, so it's gonna fit in the front in these vents. So the oil cooler, I'm gonna get a bigger one, is gonna go right here because the power steering cooler is not gonna be needed anymore because there's not gonna be any fluid in the system. And then the AC is gonna go right there. If you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe because you don't wanna miss that. That's gonna be enough rambling for now. I gotta go get some groceries for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, happy Indigenous Peoples Day. I'll see you guys on the next one. So peace out, stay sweet, and I'll see you guys next week.